Hey, it's 9 News meteorologist Cory Reppenhagen here in the 9 News Weather Bureau in North Arvada, where the heat is on, and it's been a hot day really since the get-go this morning. We only got cooled down to 70 degrees in Denver overnight, and that is close to a record high low temperature in the morning, and we're heading up to we're already up to 91 degrees 92 degrees here in Denver, and that could get a little bit higher before a cold front comes in that's racing through northern Wyoming right now. I don't think it's going to get here in time to really keep our temperatures from getting too out of control, so we're looking at the mid 90s here in the Denver metro area. Speaking of 90s, we're tracking them like we always do. Today, since it already hit 92 now in DIA, we are up to 40 on the year so far. Our average is 46. That record, I don't feel like it is in reach. We're on pace for about 60 90-degree days here in Denver by the end of September. So here's your forecast highs for today. We're going with mostly middle 90s here on the Front Range, the urban corridor. A lot of heat out on the eastern plains here. Still quite a few degrees to rise as we go through the next 3-4 hours. We're looking at 100-degree temperatures from about Lake Mac all the way down to Burlington, and also in the Arkansas River Valley. So it's a hot one east of the Rockies. Monsoon will impact the mountains once again with clouds and rain showers. So a little bit of a cool down up there, but still your high temperatures could reach close to 80 in some of the lower mountain towns. Now take a look at the HD Doppler radar for some thunderstorm activity that's currently happening. We don't see too much activity. The Grand Junction radar is still out of service, so we can't see a lot of the western slope, but the lightning tracker does still work, so we can tell when there's very large storms out there, and we don't see too much activity just yet. There is some thunderstorm activity here in the Front Range Mountains up near Granby, so this would be very close to impacting the East Troublesome burn scar. So we do expect to have some limited flooding in our burn scars as we go through today, tomorrow, and Thursday as well. Today's coverage is not as widespread, but the individual storms have a better opportunity to be heavier than they were yesterday. So we have that limited burn scar flooding expected this afternoon in almost all of our burn scars, even some of the older ones down south, like the Spring Creek burn, which is now 4 years old. They could get some flooding in there as well. So here's the future cast for the state as the computer forecast model shows you a simulation of what the day may unfold. So you see some scattered rain showers from now until 3 p.m., even impacting parts of the Front Range there as we go into these hours. The coverage does not look as widespread as it has been over the mountains, but that limited burn scar flooding is still expected because of the stronger nature of the storms out there today, being able to produce a little heavier rain. Not a whole lot of activity on the Front Range, but we will get some storms in there, maybe covering about 20 to 30% of the area. A little stronger out on the eastern plains. We're not expecting any severe weather today in the form of large hail or damaging thunderstorm wind gusts, although we do have a slight opportunity to see some landspout tornadoes today, which technically is considered severe weather because it's a tornado. It doesn't matter if they are weak dust devils that transition into tornadoes. It's still a tornado, so that is considered severe weather. So take a look at the zoomed in version of the computer forecast model here for the Front Range to see if we have any opportunities to get some of those storms and just rain in general in the Denver area and the Front Range. The computer forecast model does show some storms in and around the Front Range between Fort Collins and Castle Rock between 1 and 3 p.m. and those would have an opportunity to produce some quick heavy rains, very short lasting because they're kind of on the move and they're very small today. But we did talk about that landspout possibility, and that is because we have very high heat. So that heats the surface of the earth, and we also have some boundaries floating out there from thunderstorms that had already occurred yesterday. And then we have a cold front moving in about 3, 4 o'clock. So that all that interaction means that we could get the circulation of air at the surface, which we call dust devils. And if those dust devils get sucked into a forming thunderstorm, then you get a landspout tornado. So that's a possibility today. It would be better forecast for those if the storms had better lapse rates, which means the air could rise quickly from the surface up to about 20,000 feet rapidly. And we don't have that situation today. So talked about those high temperatures here for today, but tomorrow, as that cold front moves through, we will be able to see a little bit of reduced heat coming up for our day on Wednesday, because that cold front comes through still in the daytime hours here on Tuesday. So by the time tomorrow's sun starts to impact things, the cold air will already have been through. So all it has to do is really kind of mix out some of that cooler air from the surface that settles overnight, and we could still get those temperatures up to 90 degrees. I think it's going to be pretty close here in the Denver metro area, but even if it just hits 90 for an hour or so tomorrow, that is going to feel much better than what the last 2 days we just went through and the 2 days that we have ahead. And that is because the high pressure ain't budging. It is just kind of staying there. We'll put it in motion from today and go through the rest of the week, and you see it kind of drifts around, but it really isn't flattening out or budging or moving out of the way too much. So the good news is the majority of the monsoon moisture will continue to get pushed to the west of Colorado, but the downside of that is that our heat will be on the rise. So we're looking at a couple of more really hot days in our forecast. Take a look at the 7-day. You can see the impact of the cold front today on our temperatures tomorrow, and then boom, right back up Thursday, Friday. We're looking at middle 90s, possibly some upper 90s in the Denver area. And then keep your eye very carefully on the storm system that could impact Colorado over the weekends, especially if you have plans in the mountains or if you live in any of the areas of the burn scars, because so far it looks like we could have some significant rainfall opportunities, very widespread, and possibly even heavy rain coming up on Saturday from that system. And then that lingering storm system there, which will mainly stay to the north of Colorado, will still impact us with a couple of little short fronts that come through. So we could be looking at a slightly cooler week to start out next week. So plenty of things to keep an eye on here as we watch the temperatures soar on our Tuesday and wait for that cold front to see how that impacts our afternoon. So thanks for joining us, and have a real nice day.